Welcome to my views news. Views more than 6 months ago, Pretoria deal was signed in South Africa between the TPLF and Ethiopian federal government. Guns were silenced and a monitoring and verification mechanism was established to monitor the implementation of Pretoria deal. Since then, we have been waiting for a report from this monitoring and verification team comprising generals, military officers from some African countries. And today, this verification mechanism held a briefing in Mekelle, Tigray's capital. The briefing was attended by defense attaches of different countries. Getachew was there, a Tigray interim president. From Ethiopian federal government as well, there were representatives. So what did Major General Reda say about the implementation of Pretoria deal? Has Tigray surrendered all weapons? Is Eritrea blocking the movement of this team of observers? What did Getachew say at the briefing? Getachew accused Eritrea. He apologized to the general who briefed the international defense attaches, and he implied the reason behind the delay in implementation of Pretoria deal, especially demobilization and reintegration of Tigray fighters. Firstly, Major General Reda briefed the participants about implementation of Pretoria deal. He is the one who represented the monitoring and verification team appointed by African Union to monitor implementation of Pretoria deal. He said 85% of Tigray is accessible for aid organizations. It means that delivery of aid to 85% of Tigray has been ensured now. Which areas are inaccessible? Mostly Western Tigray. He said that the team had access up to Dedabat, but team was planning to reach Humera next week. Basically, Western zone, Western Tigray, Volkayt is inaccessible. He delivered, he ensured that in coming days, next week, Humera will be accessible. I think he confirmed access to Alamata, southern zone. Secondly, he talked about the disarmament. He confirmed that Tigray forces have surrendered heavy weapons. They have surrendered Air Force weapons to missiles, which we reported, I think. We showed pictures of long-range missiles when they were taken from Tigray to Awash, I think. But Tigray fighters have not surrendered light arms so far. He said that handing over of medium weapons, not small arms, handing over of medium weapons will start next week. And medium weapons include mortars, anti-tank weapons. And after that, handing over of small arms. But handing over of medium weapons going to start next week. It means disarmament could not be completed so far. Next stage of disarmament is demobilization. That all Tigray fighters will report at designated camps. And then reintegration. They'll be recruited in forces. They could be employed in government departments. or they could be given money to start their businesses. So far, first phase is underway, and that is disarmament. Why so much delay? Getachew, in his talk, he also said that he implied that the delay is due to financial constraints. Tigray regional government, Ethiopian federal government, both have limited resources. And he asked the defense attaches to send a message to their countries to mobilize resources for demobilization and reintegration phases. So money is issue. I've been saying that implementation of Pretoria deal needs money. Who will fund the implementation? Obviously EU, US. No African country is expected to support Ethiopia. Ethiopian government, Tigray government, on their own, they cannot implement the Pretoria deal, it seems. The Major General talked about general situation too. The general situation has improved a lot. Guns silenced, no ceasefire violation was reported by him. Banking service resumed, telecom service resumed as well. So overall progress has been made. Agreement is holding. Getachew, when he delivered his speech, clearly said that African Union observers' work was being hindered by Eritrean military. He said that just a few days ago, they were stopped from visiting a place. AU observers, they were stopped by Eritrean military from visiting a place. And he said that Eritrean military is sabotaging peace deal implementation. He apologized to the channel, saying that the channel wanted to keep the problems private. But he said channel was suffering at the hands of Eritrean forces. He said that in front of all the defense attaches, federal government representative, AU observers team. So Tigray's position very clear, that Eritrean military is still in control of Tigray's territory, that IDPs could not return to the places from where they are, like Western Tigray, like Raya, no return so far. Only good thing about the briefing is that now we know that what is the status of implementation of Pretoria deal. Only first phase of DDR is being implemented, and that is disarmament. Withdrawal of forces, non-ENDF, and external forces, again, no clarity. AU team should have clearly said which forces are positioned in Tigray, in southern and western zones of Tigray, in Zalambasa, in Irob. They did not share details. They don't have access to these places, that is why. If they don't have access, they should have shared details. They did not. So I don't know why this team of observers is scared of mentioning Eritrea. Is it because the Eritrean forces are in those territories which Eritrea claims to be part of Eritrea? Or is it because this is policy of the AU observers that they don't want to mention Eritrea? Whatever the case is, Eritrea was not mentioned by AU observers today. their representative. But Getachew clearly mentioned Eritrea, blamed Eritrean military for allegedly trying to sabotage peace deal. Now we can say that no ceasefire violations happening in Tigray, peace deal holding, implementation very slow. Tigray fighters still in control of small arms. They have not reported at designated places. Tigray facing shortage of cash. Ethiopian government facing shortage of cash. That is why implementation is slow. And the demobilization, reintegration is being monitored by National Reform Commission as well, which was formed more than 2 months ago. But this commission has been holding meetings with the foreign dignitaries trying to get funds. Funds are not coming or not as much as needed. That is why we're seeing slow implementation of Pretoria deal. Overall, encouraging news from Tigray. Issues remain. Tigray, Eritrea. I've been saying that for lasting peace, you will have to resolve issues between Tigray and Eritrea. Tigray and Amhara as well. Western zone, southern zone still disputed. Let's see what happens. I have a clip for you of Getachew Reda when he mentioned how the African Union observers are facing challenges from Eritrean military. Watch the clip. Thank you for watching.
And we expect the international community, especially representatives here, to throw your full weight behind what the AU and the monitoring mechanism have been doing, especially in areas where it has been particularly problematic for them to carry out their activities. I would apologize if I am creating inconvenience for Major General Radina, who wants us to keep those things as much private as possible, but he's been suffering in the hands of, unfortunately, the Eritreans who still want to sabotage the peace process. And of course, like I said, with their decision to extend their mission in other parts of Tigray, and with our commitment, collective commitment of both the federal government and the interim regional administration to resettle IDPs to where they belong in parts of Tigray which still are off limits to our administration, would achieve everything that will help sustain our peace. And there is no going back as far as our choice for peace is concerned. Rest assured, the internal regional administration and all stakeholders here will do everything and anything to make sure peace becomes the only game in town, because it's the only game in town.